Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. So glad you guys could join us once again. For those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, we're glad to have you all with us. Glad to connect with our friends over on Instagram, where our next guest is the star of the room. And then last but certainly not least, we're going to be connecting with our friends over on Amazon Live. We have a returning guest that's joining us today, perfect for Prime Days. So if you guys are looking for some great books to add to your reading list, our next guest definitely has you covered. It's going to be a great conversation about the release of her new edition of Stronger, and we're now live on Amazon Live with Cyrus Webb Presents. If you guys are new to us on the Amazon Live platform, welcome. I know you guys have seen a lot of me this week, but make sure you guys, if you have not done so already, I'm going to type you guys in a welcome message. Make sure you guys hit that follow button either here in this corner or down below. Again, you will see the books by our next guest, Dr. Teresa A. Smith, aka Dr. TAS, is back with us. We're going to talk to her not only about the second edition of her book Stronger, but also if you follow her on social, she's back in the kitchen. So we have her cookbook here, and she has a lot of other great things happening, including her own shows on Instagram as well. Dr. TAS, welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Cyrus.
Look, it's always a pleasure. I'm going to type a quick welcome message over on Instagram as well. So as I mentioned, Instagram is your platform, Taz, where you have really grown. I mean, you have your shows there, Real Talk with Taz and Angelia. You have your own show there. Also, Talk with Taz over there. And then
I
you have
know
Taz
so
in the
many of
kitchen.
them, Cyrus.
Yeah, Taz in the kitchen also. What has it been like for you, Taz, to have written these books, but also to have your own platform where you're able to be able to talk about those and so much more?
You know, Cyrus, I thought you were going to ask me something else, so I'm going to let it be the answer. I think
Okay.
it's because I thought you were going to ask me, what does it feel like to have found your place?
Hmm.
And so for me, I can weave it because, I'm a writer. I can weave it with the books because the books are like stepstones.
Mm-hmm.
They're stepping stones, and they've led me to this place and this time. And so to be able to have now identified my platform, because we have so many different platforms, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel really at home on IG. And some people know, I ain't gonna say who those people are. When I first started going live on IG, which guess really hadn't been that many years ago now, maybe about 3 years, I think it was, Cyrus.
Mm-hmm.
If that long, I was petrified. And now it's where I have all my shows, and it's where I talk about my books with my TAS moments, and even with the inspirational things that I share, everything has just kind of come full circle. So to
Right.
be able to share my books with that particular audience and get the feedback, because when I'm live, folks, they charm in, they jump in. I shouldn't say charm in. They jump in and they give feedback. They ask questions, and so to me, it's just really. It's been a progression, and then to see that I'm on the right path, because we never get to the destination if we're still living,
Mm-hmm.
because we're always striving, but to now see that I'm on the right path. So everything is coming together quite nicely, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Daryl Drummer, good to be able to see you over there on IG as well. So this leads to an interesting thing. I wasn't planning on bringing this up, but because of what you just said, Taz, I will bring it up. There's an old saying: to go where you are celebrated, not tolerated.
Come on now.
And what made me think about that was when you mentioned about their other platforms. But I think what happens with a lot of people is they say, "Well, my friends over here, they don't buy anything, they don't support anything, but that's what my friends are, right?"
Mhm.
What made you not look at Facebook? Because for Facebook, that's what, quite honestly, that's what it used to be, the place for friends and family. For me, it's always been work. But for a
Mhm.
lot of people, when they first got on Facebook, it was connecting with friends and things. You and I connected on Facebook.
Yes.
So what was it like for you to realize that maybe Facebook wasn't the place for you when it came to what Ties wanted? Facebook may have been for Teresa, but
Yes.
may not have been for Ties.
Stars, I love it when we get together. It was a struggle. And I'm sharing this for other, content creators and
Hmm.
folks who are trying to figure out what platform works for them. I came to social media late because I was working on my doctorate. So my sister Angelia actually signed me up on Facebook. I didn't even know what was happening. And so, I'm slowly trying to figure it out. And at that point, I wasn't, doing I wasn't a content creator. I was just the person there, and I didn't understand it. And I was, you do your likes or whatever. And so then when I started writing my books and becoming a content creator, like most people, I thought that's where I was supposed to be. And I really didn't understand, and I'm not going to say I understand it completely now, guys, because I'm a lifelong learner. I didn't understand what the platform was doing for me and what I could do for the platform. And so, because I'm a lifelong learner, I took classes and I recommend it. And so my instructor kept saying, you have to identify your audience. There's 3 levels of audience participation and engagement. And you need all 3 of them, but you have to pay attention to it. And I think what I almost fell into was this idea that I had to have 10,000 followers. And I'm just throwing 10,000 out.
Yeah.
But 50,000 followers. No, if you've got that core group, and you quoted, because the first time I ever heard that quote that you said, Cyrus, go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. I have it in a book that Dr. Mike Murdoch wrote. And I went to see him years ago. Mike also would say that the sheep know his voice. And of course, he's referring to Jesus, and we are the sheep. So I had to finally get comfortable understanding Facebook is excellent, but it appears that my sheep are over here, and they are not necessarily people who know me personally.
Yeah.
But I need both groups of individuals. And so for me, it was an exercise in humility and taking the ego out of it, what looks flashy and what looks good, because I have a purpose, and I want to provide content to the people who need my content. And for me, my audience is on IG, but it took a while because I was a foreigner to IG, but I'm quite comfortable with it now. Even when the technology doesn't work the way it should, I don't panic. I just go along, and if we have to stop and reboot, I do that. So to me, I think when you're finally in the right place, a comfortability kind of settles, and you can really grow in that area, and you take some of the stress off of you. You just got to continue to do the work, though.
Yeah. TAS didn't know where I was going with this, y'all, but this actually ties in perfectly with what you have done with your books as well, TAS, because there were other authors before Dr. Teresa A. Smith came on the scene. There have been others who've come after you've come on the scene. What made you know that you had a place when it comes to being an authority in the book space?
Well, Cyrus, there are many ways I could answer this, but I'm going to answer it from the fact that my story is my story. We met after I'd written Stronger, this version. And we're talking about 2 different versions, and I'm not this person anymore. I'm not. And that I then wrote Transformation. And I use this as the jumping off to answer your question. Once I realized how I knew it, but I didn't know it, and I still live it every day, how change is so challenging. That's because what I'm saying is I'm constantly having to download software and then re-upload software and get them bugs out. It's like a download. I'm constantly getting bugs out to be comfortable to say, okay, I have a message that's built on my story. It is true. The things that I write about, they are actually happening. And then, as I always say, I'm living these books after I write them. And I am, because I'm living them as I'm writing them. And so I think that my story is authentic. And I think that my audience sees it. And I talk about things, I have TAS and Miss Gloria now too, on that I share on IG. I think you are beginning to see that each one of these books really does build on the other. And it's like a mirror or a puzzle coming together. And it's a piece of the human experience. And your story may not be exactly like mine, but you see the slivers of it.
You, in your book, in the second edition of Stronger, and the chapter "Discovering Who I Really Am" is chapter 7. I'm going to highlight it for you guys over on the Amazon side. You talked about this in the different layers of ties. For those who have the print edition, it's on page 74. You began this by talking about this quote. You said it reminds me of a quote I came across from Hollywood actor Bradley Whitford. He gives sage advice on being your own person and acting without fear of failure or hesitation. Infuse your life with action. Don't wait for it to happen. Make it happen. Make your own future. Make your own hope. Make your own love. And whatever your beliefs, honor your creator, not by passively waiting for grace to come down from up on high, but by doing what you can to make grace happen yourself right now, right down here on earth. What has it been like for you, Ties, to accept that challenge and responsibility?
Sometimes I'm a bad girl. I'm hearing R. Kelly. Y'all know I love music. I love music. I'm hearing R. Kelly in my head. I'm a bad man. I've been a bad girl sometimes. Because what happens is I want to fulfill my purpose here. And I want to go too fast. I think it's how I'm going to say it.
Okay.
I want to go too fast, meaning that sometimes I don't stop and actually reflect on what's happening. I don't stop and take care of myself, which then only delays what I'm trying to do. So, when you ask me what it's been like, trying to live up what I write, that's the reason I think, to go back to your other question, why me? Because I'm just so transparent. You see the ups and downs of this woman, and I'm honest about it. Because again, I can't be of service to my audience if I'm not real with my audience. Right. If I have them thinking, as Anjay would say, rainbows and unicorns all the time, then they're going to think that their life is not normal.
Right.
Nobody's life is rainbows and unicorns all the time. So for me, I'm having to learn to give myself grace and pace myself, because I don't think that, and I'm not much of a builder. I don't have brothers, but I'm trying to think quickly as if my father was here. When they build houses, you have to do one step at a time. And then sometimes you have to wait till something else dries or whatever before you go and do the next thing. If I don't do that for myself and what I'm building, then I do a disservice to what the end goal is supposed to be. And I think that as I'm learning that continuously, Cyrus, and I'm sharing it with my audience, I hope that makes the difference so that they feel it's okay if they stumble. It's okay. We all stumble. We just get back up again.
Right. Yeah, and I think that is the big thing for all of us to realize. And I love the fact that you talk about being transparent, because I think that's also what people love about you as well, Taz. Miss Queenie, hello to you over there on Facebook. I appreciate the hearts over there for you guys on Amazon. I want to say, for those who are just tuning in, welcome. You're watching Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon, but we're simulcasting on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, as well as on Instagram as well. We're joined by Dr. Teresa A. Smith, a.k.a. Dr. Taz. You guys also know her as Taz in the Kitchen. Her cookbook is right here, Transform with Taz Healthy Recipes. I'm going to highlight it for you guys. So talk about that element of what you do, Taz, which is different than what you do with your interview show, and even with what you do with Angelia. What is it like for you to be the star of your own show? You're used to sharing the stage, but what is it like for you just to be, and your sous chefs, but what is it like for you just to be there on camera and having people be on that journey with you there?
Oh, now, Cyrus, that's the best thing with my sous chefs. And guys, my sous chefs are Tassilou and Mason. And they sit there and they look at me, and then Mason talks trash to me, but he keeps me on point. I love it, Cyrus, because it's another part of my of who I am. And I get to share the creative part of me and something that I really love. So when I'm cooking live and I'm talking to folks, and like I tell them, I can't wave at them like I do when I'm doing Taz and Anjay, because the phone is so far away, and plus I'm cooking. But I love that, and I think that the other reason I like it so much is people get a chance to see me probably at my happiest, because it's real time. I was doing a smoothie this past weekend as of this taping, And I was like, I taste because I'm curating stuff, but I'm trying it live. And so I was like, oh, I think it needs a little more of whatever. And then I said, oh, we're going to do it in real time. And I did that. And then I tasted, oh my God, Cyrus, it was good. It was sweet potato and mango nectar. Oh my God, it is really good. But that was an honest reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like the fact that folks get to see me in my natural habitat, you know,
Yeah.
and see that I'm not serious all the time. Because I will say, my stories, and except for Mama Said, but some of the stories I wrote in Mama Said kind of serious too, but
Mm-hmm.
they're written with a lighter spirit. So I like the fact that people get to see that there are two sides to me, the serious side, but then there's that fun loving side. And that's the side that I really want to gravitate to more because it's freeing. It's creativity at its best, plus I'm interacting with the audience.
Yeah. Taz, you have gone to an interesting place that we've gotten to see as readers and observers of yours. We've gone from someone in Stronger who felt like they had something to prove, right? And even to prove others wrong, to
Mhm.
now getting to the place where you have to prove to yourself who you are and what you are. What has that journey been like for you to reflect on of not only being able to rise above what people may expect of you, but even rise above what you expect of yourself?
Full stars. Now, it's not easy. I wish I could say it's an easy thing and somebody probably gonna slap my hand afterwards, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I almost think that it has been, and it was a struggle, guy. It has been easier for me to move away from trying to prove something to others. And now it's like proving it to myself. They're two different things
Yeah.
um, because they're external. I'm internal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why I have to modulate so I don't backslide because I know what I can do, but I have to realize there's only so much time in a day. And I
Yeah.
have to give myself grace. So that proving things to myself, that's almost like Achilles' heel. And
Mm-hmm.
also, I think the thing that I'm learning and having to still sit with, when you've done something, whatever it was, that was a success. And to sit and actually say, good job,
Yeah.
and actually mean it. Good
Mm-hmm.
job, because I think those little, and I say little, but they're huge. But whatever that step was for that particular day, that is huge in the big scheme of what you're building. So to be able to do that a little bit better now, which means I have proved to myself that I can do whatever. I may not have done the big list yet, but you've done a portion of the list, and that's so important for intrinsic motivation and also even an external motivation because you may flip it and look at it differently. So for me, Stars, I'm glad that I've moved to this state, but I think this state is even harder because now I can't blame it on anybody.
Yeah.
Me.
So you mentioned something to me before we went live here, and it's something I think only reason why I'm bringing it up, Taz, because I think other people can relate to it as well. You made a statement, and I think it kind of ties in what you've talked about in this interview, and that is we should not let other people feel like we can do it all, that we have it all together. But what has it been like for you to be honest with yourself about that too? That you can't do it all. No matter what you may want to do, or what you think your abilities are, that you can't do it all. As you know, there's one of my favorite sayings, and I heard this, and I truly believe it, and that is, you can have it all, but not at the same time. What has that been like for you to realize for yourself, Taz?
Cyrus, the sooner we realize that, the more years we'll add back to our life.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Because what happened, I think the Bible talks about not worrying. We worry and
Hmm.
we put all this undue pressure on us. Now, that's us putting the pressure. Imagine all the pressure we have to deal with every day from the external things. And then we're putting all this pressure on us too. The sooner you can get it in your head that you can do it, but you don't have to do it all at one time,
Hmm.
the better you will feel, and also the better job you'll do.
Yes.
And that's the key, doing the best job, showing up as your best self every time you show up. And so for me, getting to that place, because I have to sometimes say, not today. Mm-mm. And I'll be upset with myself, but then afterwards, like, well, yeah, why were you going to try to do that? You know, X, Y, Z. And it's like, well, yeah, yeah. No, you
Yeah.
have to grow up.
Yeah. It's such a great thing. And I think it's such a great reminder for all of us, myself included. We all have to remember that no matter how talented we are, no matter how people may think we can do all things, remembering, ourselves, that we have limitations, and working within those limitations is so important. So Taz, you've had a very full first half of 2025 as we're going through July. Is there anything in particular you're looking forward to?
Well, Cyrus, there's so much I want to do. Uh, I'm full of ideas, and there's some that I'm still nurturing. Some folks, if you hear this, I'm still nurturing. I'm trying to figure out how to do it, but I am looking forward to being in the kitchen more, Cyrus. I'm looking forward to more interviews. I've got some interviews that are coming up that I think that the audience is going to enjoy. Also, I am, like I said, I'm gonna be in the kitchen because I got a cookbook that's coming out later this year. I shouldn't put it out there, but if I can't get it out, you know what? I'm gonna be okay. It'll just come out in first of next year.
Right.
But I'm looking forward to that, and also I'm looking forward to sharing more of my smoothie, Cyrus, because my friend is doing better. Even and I can see that my health is better by me drinking my protein. Yeah, because it's like, I notice little things. I'm like, oh yeah, because it's got to be because you're drinking it, because you're certainly not eating it. Um, and so also, Cyrus, now I'm having one of those young moments. The other thing that I'm looking forward to is working with more clients. Um, One of the things that I do very well is I plan things because I grew up with a woman, my mother, Miss Gloria, and she was always involved in everything and she was always planning stuff. So I learned to do that as a child because I had to help her implement. And so I'm looking forward to working with other individuals, find where their niches are, help them to understand how to use the data to determine if this is your platform and helping them to be okay with wherever their platform is or whatever their action plan is for say the first quarter of the year. Because I think it's so important for folks to understand that my plan is not Cyrus Webb's plan.
Right.
If I achieve my plan and Cyrus Webb achieves his plan for that particular quarter, we're both winners. And being able to sit in that space. And I've had to learn to do that just by doing it. And so I know that there are people who need more assistance because it is daunting,
Yeah.
and then being able to get comfortable in that space. So I'm looking forward to doing more consulting work in that space for the upcoming quarter. And then, of course, for Q4.
Love that. Hello to you, Dennis Perkins. Good to be able to see you over there on IG as well. Well, a lot of great things happening for you, Taz. Excited we get a chance to catch up. Again, everyone, Dr. Teresa A. Smith, a.k.a. Dr. Taz, has been back with us. Make sure you guys get the second edition of her book, Stronger, and highlight it again for you guys on the Amazon site there. You can get it both in print as well as the Kindle edition. And then, of course, her cookbook, Transform with Taz, Healthy Recipes as well. Let me highlight it for you guys. You can get the Kindle edition right now for only $4.99. You can see it there, or you can be to get the print edition as well. Taz, always a pleasure to speak with you. Let our audience know how to stay connected with you.
Well, the best thing to do is just to follow me, Dr. Teresa Smith, on IG. And in my bio, you'll see my link tree, and it will get you to all the other platforms and also to my website.
All right. Well, Taz, congratulations to you again. Looking forward to our next chat together.
Thank you, Cyrus.
More than welcome. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.